Hi everyone, I am Dr. V and welcome to day 10 of Vlogmas. All right, thank you so much for joining me. And today we're going to talk about 5 habits of high achieving women. These are 5 habits that I practice, and these are 5 habits that I talk to my clients about having as high achieving women, because truth be told, what we do on, that's not our 60%, like we just get up and we wake up like this, meaning we do the work, we do what we need to do, especially in our careers. A lot of people think that's like fantastic, but we know that's not our 100%. And to make sure that we are always at our 100% and above, there are 5 things that I think we should do as high achieving women. So are you ready? Number 1, high achieving women practice their craft and they practice like their transferable skills. I know that a lot of things come easy to us, but if you really want to reach that next level professionally and personally, I think we should practice our crafts and our skills. So for example, for me, it's really easy for me to put courses together, lesson plan, because I am a college professor. I was a K-12 teacher for years before I made that transition. And so I know how to put things together and it would just come to me and I could wing it. But now transferring over as a full-time entrepreneur, I don't want to just wing my courses, right? So I start putting in the work to really seeing how to put courses together to get the end results, to put outcomes together, to make a system for people to follow that go through it to make sure they are getting their maximum experience, right? So I do practice that. I look at, different frameworks and I treat it like it's a curriculum. Like I don't approach it as, oh, okay, I know how to put this together. Let me slap something on it. No, I don't do that well anymore. Like I used to just create something and just put it out there, but now I'm being more intentional and I have to practice that craft because I am going for a different clientele. I'm going for a higher level of clientele. And I know those women are expecting high value and high service. And I want to make sure that I provide that to them. So I'm always practicing my skills of building curriculum, understanding the work that I want the women to do. I do the work. That's a skill that I transferred over from my college and K-12 days of teaching, where like when I was teaching mathematics, I didn't just give the problems to the students. I worked out every single problem, like in detail, written out. So one, I could show my students that yes, I too do the work. And two, I wanted to go through the process so I would understand where a student would struggle or where they may have questions. And I wanted to anticipate those questions. So whatever your I woke up like this skill is, practice it and hone that skill. It could be speaking, it could be like a project manager, it could be writing, anything like that. You want to just tighten up and practice it because you never know where you may have to transfer that skill. Number 2, successful high achieving women also practice self care. And I know, especially with 2020, we're in the midst of the pandemic and things are heightened more than they ever have been before. So self care isn't a new topic, it isn't a new concept, but people are treating it like it's new because I don't want to say no one, a lot of people never really took time to practice self care. And some people consider self care as going to the spa, getting manicure, pedicures, um, going to the hair salon or the barber shop. If I have a few good men watching as well. And those are all well and good. But for me, when I think about successful, high achieving women, when I hear self care, that means what are you doing to make sure that you get back to yourself whole and complete? What are you doing to rejuvenate, revitalize, re energize, reignite those passions? Because a lot of times, as high achieving women or high achieving people, all of our energy goes out. Like we're constantly giving out to people, and not in a bad way, like even doing our service or our jobs or whatever the case may be, because we are high achieving and high producing, we give out a lot of our energy and time and attention and all of that. So self care means bringing all of that back to you. and this will tie into one of my other points later, but getting in the space to where you put you first, and that is not being selfish. And you will hear a lot of people say self-care is not selfish, but it bears repeating because some people still feel like, oh my gosh, if I take 30 minutes to myself and just stand in the shower or take a bubble bath and or just read or go for a walk or just sit in silence, then that means they're being selfish. But that's not true, because you can't serve people and lead people and guide people if you're not full yourself. So you want to think of self-care as filling up your cup so you can serve from your overflow. It doesn't do anyone any good for you to be a leader, but then a few days later you snap at them because they said something to you, or you're feeling unappreciated, and it's just not a good environment. However, if you took the time to practice self-care, to fill yourself up with affirmations, positive vibes, being back to yourself, making sure that you love you at your core, whatever is happening on the outside, whether if you're a leader and you have that your managee or your employee, or not managee, whoever the people under you, your followers, if they do something that may cause you to like snap or react, you won't, because you are filled and you know that there's a bigger picture, and you don't need any sort of validation or confirmation from anyone, because you've practiced that self-care to fill yourself up and you can serve from your overflow. So they're not, whatever they do to you, here's a better explanation. So if you don't know, if you think of a saucer is a little plate, and then a cup that goes on the plate. And you fill that cup up, and if it runs over, it doesn't go to the ground, it's not wasted, it's sitting in the saucer. This may sound like bad, but you want the people that you're leading and guiding to take whatever is left on that saucer. Because if you're trying to pour from a cup, or if they're trying to get things from your cup, they're taking away your energy and your resources and all of that. So you want to give them what's on the saucer. It's nothing less, it's not being less of you. It's not like leftovers or anything like that. It's still a part of you, but they're not taking away from you. So I hope that makes sense. So highly successful and achieving people, mainly women, practice self-care and serve from their overflow. Number 3, highly successful women and high achievers have a daily detailed plan. Oh my goodness. If you've watched some of my other videos, or especially on my Facebook, because I did a lot this year, earlier part of this year on Facebook, during my Facebook lives, and I talk about how much I used to just wing my day. I knew in general what I needed to do, especially if I was teaching courses or if I had meetings. I knew things like that. But for the rest of the hours, I was like, how do I feel today? Let me go do this. And it worked. As a high achieving person, it can work for you because you are a natural producer. However, you're not operating at your full capacity. So think about it. You've gotten stuff done, but then you may still feel, you still may feel empty or lost, or what did I just do with my time? I know I was feeling like that until I started having detailed plans. And you can do a detailed plan however you want to. I have my journal, not journal, my planner, and I'll talk about what type of planner that I've used, this year, and then I'm switching over to another one, just giving it a try. But I like hour blocking or time blocking, and I'm looking just to give you an example to show you like a layout. Hourly blocking, some people do that. Some people do time blocking where they chunk time. So between like 9 and 12, these are all the tasks that I'm going to get accomplished. And whatever doesn't get accomplished between 9 and 12, I'll just wait to the next day. But I do that for that amount of time. I've tried that. I loved it. I'm going to get back to that. And then sometimes when I feel like I have so much to do, or a lot of meetings or a lot of coaching calls or things like that, I do the hour by hour blocking to plan my day. And then I've tried this and I need to get back to it. And I will talk about it somewhere. But having one theme days, and then on the theme days, write out every task you need to do for the entire week. Like you schedule every single thing in the theme day. So like Tuesday, Thursdays, you may create content. on Monday, Wednesdays, you may do all things for your courses or your clients. And I'm saying yours, but that's how I did it before, and that worked for me. So I've been trying different things, but out of all of those, I've planned my day starting the night before. I do that. And then sometimes if I forget at night, or if I just don't want to, I'll just be honest, I'll get up early in the morning, and after I do my morning ritual, map out my full day. And I can tell the difference when I do that versus when I don't. When I don't do it now, because my body has been trained, like, hey, what are we doing? What's next? Let's go, let's move, let's, get into action. I can tell the days when I don't, because then I just kind of sit around the house and like look out the window, scroll on YouTube. Um, yeah, just avoiding tasks because I feel lost. Even though I can get up and do something, it's like too much going on in my head. I can't do it and I just stop. So, highly successful women and high achievers plan out their day. Now, it's up to you how much planning you want to do, whether you want to time block hour by hour, do theme days, or just have a top three that you do. Whatever it is, make sure you plan your day. But I'm going to challenge you to be detailed in your plans, because the more detailed you are, the more freedom you realize that you have in your day. You have more time, and then you have more control over achieving the things that you want to achieve. So I was challenged to do detailed planning for like 2 weeks in a row before I changed anything. And I'm going to challenge you to do that as well. Just try it for 2 weeks. Don't make any modifications, and then see what works for you. But overall, just know that you need a detailed plan for your day. Number four, the fourth habit I think that highly successful and high achieving women should embrace is reading. Yes, reading. If you've seen anything that I've done before, I used to say that I am not a reader. I hate reading and all of that. And my comeback when people say that would be, well, you don't like math, so that's how I feel. But the more I started talking about that, the more it became like a core belief. And that was a negative core belief. Like, whoa, let me stop saying that. Because 2020, like the last part of 2019, but mainly 2020, had shown me that I do like to read. I am a reader. And don't get me wrong, when I said I didn't like to read, I'm a college professor. I have a PhD. So that means I had to read a lot of information, right? But a lot of it was technical. A lot of it was around mathematics or education or anything like that. But outside of that, I was like, oh, I read for a living. I don't want to read anymore. But I found myself really reading about entrepreneurship, self-help health books, personal growth, and all things like that. If you can kind of see my bookshelf, and I talked about this in one of my other videos for Vlogmas about the top 5 books that really pushed me forward in 2020. And then right here, I'm writing my own book, Embracing Grit for Greatness, and it will be released December 22nd. Shameless plug, I'm doing a giveaway, so make sure you follow me on Instagram at Dr. Vernita Glenn White, and then comment, like, and post things that you love about books, anything on my book post, comment. And the more I see that, the more engaged you are, then I will select a winner after launch date on December 22nd. And you will get a free hard copy of my book along with some additional information. Okay, so back to the habit. So reading is like exercise for your brain. Pick time to read. And I used to feel overwhelmed about reading because I thought I had to read, fast like other people. I have a learning disability, so I don't read as fast. And I can skim through and pick up information really quickly. And I could tell you about a book, after reading it, but to really let it sit deep within my soul, my cells, and for me to really grasp the concept, I have to like read like intentionally and deeply. And sometimes I have to read certain sections multiple times for me to get it, or I have to read the book multiple times for me to get it. No shame, all good. And I used to feel intimidated because I would hear people who would read a book a day. Some people I knew would read a book a week. And I was like, oh my gosh, how can you do that? And then I would try to read a chapter a day. But if the chapter was too long, I would just give up. And I was like, you know what, do what works for you. So depending on what the book is, and depending on the time, and depending on the schedule, because I schedule reading time, I either do a chapter a day or 15 to 30 minutes, and I set a timer and to make sure that I get it in. However long it takes me, that's me and my journey. And then sometimes if I don't have like a lot to do, I may go longer. But I read because one, it trains my brain to get into the action of you can read, you are a reader, you do like reading. And two, one of my goals is to be a New York Times bestselling author. So that means for me, I need to learn different writing styles, different authors, different, just different things to pull in when I start writing those bigger books. Like I did that with the Embracing Grit for Greatness book. I transitioned because that's my second book. I did a different type of style, and I already know what I want book number 3 to look like. And to reach that level, I need to read a lot more information. So read whatever works for you. I also read my daily devotion, so that's totally different. I used to say, "Oh, I read my scripture, I read my devotion, that was enough," but that's not enough. Like read something about your industry, read about your craft. You see how all of these are going together. You want to read, to make sure that you stay that high achiever. Because remember, we can do things at 50 and 60%, and people are like, oh my gosh, they're blown away. But on the inside that you could be a whole lot better. So I suggest reading more, self help, anything in your craft, whatever is in your industry, because you want to make sure that you are number one and at the top. Number 5, and this is our last tip for highly successful women and high achievers: visualizations and meditation. Yes, I said both of those. And part of that, when I said I'll talk about it later, was in self care, which was number 2. Part of that is meditating. Self care is meditating. When I say meditating, it doesn't have to be what people think the traditional sense of meditating is, but just sitting in stillness and being mindful. That could be the extent of your meditation, and that works. Now, here's something that I learned probably the end of last year and definitely the beginning of this year. Visualization and meditation are two different things, right? And I used to think, like, how can certain people reach this certain level of success? I hear that they meditate. Like, I've been meditating for years, and I do meditate every day, sometimes twice a day. And I've gotten to the point, because meditation is a practice, I can meditate 45 minutes straight, sit in meditations, be outside of myself, and be in control of my thoughts, depending on which meditation I do. There are different types, whether you completely empty out your mind, you analyze all of your thoughts. You can research what type of meditation works for you. But I've gotten to the point where I can sit in silence and stillness, block out everything, and really go deep within myself for 45 minutes. But that took years, 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 and days of practice, right? But then I got introduced to the concept of visualization, where you create these mental pictures or this mental movie in your head about what you want to achieve. And I realized that that was the missing key for a lot of the things that I wanted. A lot of the goals that I never achieved, like I would write them down year after year. And I'm like, gosh, why do I keep failing? I wrote out a plan, I wrote out a vision, I did meditation, I did, my action steps, but what was it? And it wasn't until this year I really focused on visualization, and things happen. So visualization is where you have and there are different ways, and I'm just going to give you a general overview. You have this thought, this goal, this vision in your mind, and you play it in your mind like a movie, and you see yourself actually doing it in the future, because things happen twice: first in your mind and then in reality. I'm not going to get too deep, but I'm a Christian, and I believe everything has already happened in the supernatural realm. And then it's up to us to make sure that we're walking in purpose to get those to make the physical manifestation happen. That's a part of one of my affirmations, by the way, that I say every day. But having it in your mind, and if you think about it, because if you can see it, you can achieve it, and then you do all those steps in between to make sure that it comes to fruition or come into reality. And I didn't do that. I was like, but I meditate. But for me, those were totally different things. Meditate and mindfulness, I get in the space so I can receive. And then visualization is where this is what I want to accomplish. So here's an example. I knew I wanted to write another book. And I would always say, I want to write another book. I want to write another book. And I even started a writing challenge for when the pandemic first happened, like around July when we were really on lockdown. And I did this writing challenge for 30 days. I was like, I'm just going to write this book. But I was helping other people that were in my challenge achieve their goals. But I had never sat down to say, all right, Vernita, we're going to write this book. This is how we're going to write the book. And every day you're going to be sitting at your computer, typing, writing it out, mapping, and all of that. When I did that, things started happening and my book was finished in about 90 days. So that means from thought to writing to being prepared to launch in a few weeks. So I had to visualize, like, yes, I meditated and all of that, but it wasn't until I started seeing myself doing the task that I wanted to do and accomplishing it. So I already saw myself like book done, right? And then that kept me going and it kept being real to me. And every time I felt like, oh gosh, I hate this book, I don't want to write, I had the mental picture in my head of what it would look like when it was finished. You can do that for anything. I visualize my house. I visualized types of relationships. And then I'm still visualizing because there are things that I wrote on my vision board for this year that did not get accomplished. That I believe in miracles, but I know some of those are not going to happen. Like I have a bikini competition that I wanted to do this year, but between now and December 31st, I don't see myself getting ripped. Some people could say I'm not. That's like I'm not being. Some people may say it's like, well, you don't believe. I don't like the word realistic, but I'm not going to put myself through that torture to try to get myself that ripped in about 21 days. We're not going to do that. That me, you may be able to do that, but me, I'm not. So we just going to put that over there to 2021. But anyway, so I really hope you, I'm rambling now. I really hope that you understand visualization and meditation. I personally like to do them both. But again, I have a whole morning routine and ritual. My schedule allows me to have a lot of time in the morning. You may do this at night. Some people do it 3 times a day. I've gotten to the point where I've done it twice. I do want to get up to the third time of day because the more that you're interacting with your vision and your dream and your goals, the more that your body feel it, like it's at a cellular level. I believe the closer you are, the closer you'll be to achieving it. All right. So those were the 5 habits of highly successful women and high achievers. I hope that you can pick up one of those habits and run with it, or maybe you enjoy all 5 of them. Let me know in the comments below which habit resonated with you, which one you want to try, or if you have a different habit and you are highly successful, or you are a high achiever. Let me know one of the habits down below, because that's one great part that I love about the YouTube space is that we can share and learn from other people. All right, so thank you so much. I am Dr. V, and thank you for listening and learning with me, and I will see you next time. Bye.